Hi everyone, I'm Justin Wu and I'm part of the community team here at Pi. I want to welcome all the pioneers to the last session for the Pi convention. For the past few weeks, we've had an exciting convention sharing our updates and plans and also hearing from many pioneers around the world about their ideas on the Pi network and ecosystem. To conclude our convention, we are featuring another community discussion panel about how Pi can collaborate with those within the blockchain industry and beyond. And in order for Pi to achieve mass adoption and value creation, we want to collaborate and work with others such as DApps and businesses globally to integrate and utilize Pi. And so we want to collaborate with other blockchain and crypto builders because the blockchain industry needs to work together and to build a better and more complete ecosystem overall to strengthen its industry standing and to resist the economic incumbents and to fulfill that expectation of smarter money and a better financial system for the future. We also want to work with traditional businesses because the traditional economy is where the majority of everyday utilities exist and where real value is produced. So the value creation of any new currency is essentially a combination of the two processes. The new utility creation and transfer of existing utilities into the new currency, while the blockchain industry has been exploring and making innovative progress in its creation of new utilities given its technology advantages, its integration into traditional economies and adoption by mainstream population remains key to its health, strength, scale, and financial revolution that it promises. So, we asked pioneers in this panel to answer the two following questions. How can Pi collaborate with other blockchain projects? And how can Pi collaborate and integrate with traditional businesses in the existing world of fiat currencies?
Hi pioneers, my name is Hakkyung and I'm one of the software engineers at Pi Network. As the core team, we are exploring ways to integrate and work with both existing and new businesses to further grow the Pi ecosystem as discussed in our earlier sessions of the convention on Pi Note, Pi apps, and platform. As the network develops, it becomes increasingly important to build awareness and further utilization of Pi in the real world. We are having this panel to hear pioneers voice their thoughts on the two questions. For pioneers who did not participate in the discussion through video, please participate in the current session by hosting your views through the topic button on the home screen today, where the core team and other community members can also view, upvote, or downvote. We'd like to again have a disclaimer that any voices by non-core team members do not represent what the core team thinks or decides. The convention is meant to be a place where diverse and creative ideas from the community on how to solve issues and improve various aspects of our network emerge, where conversation can continue and ideas can flourish. Now let's hear what representative pioneers think about how Pi can integrate with the industry and beyond.
Hi everyone, this is Lirio from the core team. In this session, I'm going to present the update and the future of the Pi app platform. In the second quarter of 2020, we introduced Pi app platform prototype with its first third-party app, FeverIQ. We had multiple iterations of the prototype to fix bugs, improve scalability and user experience, and finally, we announced the developer SDK and the testing sandbox at the end of May. The Pi SDK allows developers to develop their application in whichever programming language they prefer in their backend and integrate with the Pi platform interface with JavaScript in the frontend. For developers to integrate with Pi, we adopted industry standard technologies such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript so that they can focus more on building applications rather than getting complex technologies to work. Pi third-party apps will initially be hitting Pi's backend so that they can iterate on their app design and establish their use cases and audiences. Once they are ready and the blockchain becomes live, the backend will be able to adapt to hit the Pi testnet or mainnet directly eventually achieving decentralization. This makes sure that the development of utility and decentralization are in parallel rather than in sequence. In Q3, we hope that developers would be able to play with the released SDK and sandbox and explore what could be built on Pi. We will see a few examples later in the developers' demos after the core team talk. The next step for Pi platform is to increase its functionalities for third-party developers to develop fully functional apps with ability to provide better user experience while improving scalability and the security of the overall Pi system in relation to the Pi platform and the protection of user privacy. First, we would like to provide SDK endpoint for developers to take advantage of the scalable database backend of Pi network. We will build the user state object in our SDK for third-party apps to provide continued user experience. For instance, the ability for a user to continue what they left off from previous visit. This is indeed important for almost all apps. Providing this endpoint means that developers will be able to store data for each of their users directly onto the Pi backend without needing to set up their own server or store the data in the front end. While more complex apps will still require their own backend, this SDK functionality will enable a plethora of simple apps to work without worrying about the servers. Second, the platform will be able to allow authentication into using third-party apps without sharing the Pi username. In the current version of the platform, the access and use of third-party apps rely on the user's willingness to share their Pi username. Even though the choice to share or not is completely in the hand of the user, not sharing the Pi username would mean inability to use the specific third-party app. The next version of the platform would like to make the authentication to use third-party apps more flexible to provide better control and protection of user privacy while maintaining their ability to use the third-party apps. Eventually, the platform will enable third-party apps to request specific information about the user and allow the user to accept or refuse each of them. The platform wants to provide more functionalities and accessibility for third-party apps to tap into the infrastructure of the Pi system and Pi community. For example, the ability for third-party apps to create their own Pi chat room through the SDK to interact with their users. We will allow developers to generate custom links that would take the user directly into the developer's intended place inside of the third-party apps, a process called deep linking. This way, they will be able to invite new users to the app directly without having to go through the general workflow of the Pi app first. It will also enable experiences where one user can interact with another one seamlessly. For instance, in a round-based game, a user gets a link that navigates them directly into the interface of the game where they need to make a move. Or a marketplace, a user can go directly check one specific item. Finally, the platform will also gradually release more functionalities to the developers to integrate with the Pi currency. In the current version, developers can request payment from Pioneer. Later version will provide the ability for the developers to pay the Pioneer, completing the loop of bidirectional payment between app developers and pioneers. As we discussed in the Pi Phase 2 strategy announcement in March 2020, we will first focus on enabling third-party apps inside of the Pi app itself, before enabling a Pi payment for completely external apps. Technically, this means that the availability of specific API endpoint will tailor to the need of in-app third-party apps based on reasons such as efficiency and security, rather than enabling external applications to be able to run Pi payment, which will come further down the line though. Thus, the API endpoint that we will make available next will be able to validate payment to the app developer and to provide privacy control between a Pioneer and an app. Thanks for watching.
Hello Pioneers! Welcome to another session of the first Pi convention. Today, we're featuring a community discussion panel about Pi governance and the provisional committee. In the white paper, we outlined that the provisional committee would be formed after candidates for the committee itself.
Hello Pioneers, my name is Chris and I'm on the community team of the PyCore team.
In organizing this Pi panel, the PyCore team has been soliciting short video responses from community members through an online application, chat moderator recommendations, and email reach outs. We asked vocal pioneers to express their opinions on 3 questions. What characteristics and qualities do you think a provisional committee member should have? 2. How should committee members be nominated and selected? 3. How long a term should the committee members serve and why? About 900 pioneers submitted about 2,000 short video responses to voice their opinions in this panel. Because Pi panels are global discussions and are meant to spur conversations internationally within the Pi community, we required English as the language of the video submissions. The core team reviewed all the video submissions and selected a subset of them to be showcased in this panel due to time limitations and the audience's attention span. We tried to select videos that are representative of different viewpoints with different geolocations that are clear, articulate, and reasonable. Even if your video is not showcased in this broadcast, please know that we have listened to your ideas and we hope our selected videos also represent your views. For pioneers who did not participate in the discussion through video, please participate in the current section through posting your views through the topic button on the home screen today, where the core team and other community members can also view, upvote, or downvote. Now let's hear what representative pioneers think about the formation of the provisional committee. We'd like to clarify that any voices by non-core team members do not represent what the core team thinks or decides. The convention is meant to be a place where diverse and creative ideas from the community can emerge about how to solve issues and improve various aspects of our network, where we can continue our conversations and ideas can flourish.